MLK here. Amazing sack. And of course, we have our own generator. You can get one large or small, fits right in your closet, or you can get one for your whole house or for your business. Satellite Phone Store has everything you need. If you want to protect yourself and your family, if you want to be prepared no matter what comes, the Satellite Phone Store is your one-stop shop. Go to the MelKShow.com partners page, click on Satellite Phone Store now, tell them MelK sent you. Be prepared, be ready, protect yourself, protect your family, and make sure communication for you is always secure.
Useful idiots, the leftists who are idealistically believing in the beauty of Soviet socialist or communist or whatever system, when they get disillusioned, they become the worst enemies. That's why my KGB instructors specifically made a point: never bother with leftists. Forget about these political prostitutes. Aim higher.
But to eliminate the others, to execute the others, don't they serve some purpose? Wouldn't they be the ones we rely on?
They serve purpose only at the stage of destabilization of a nation. For example, your leftists in United States, all these professors and all these beautiful civil rights defenders, they are instrumental in the process of the subversion only to destabilize the nation. When their job is completed, they are not needed anymore. They know too much. Some of them, when they get disillusioned, when they see that Marxist-Leninists come to power, obviously they get offended. They think that they will come to power. That will never happen, of course. They will be lined up against the wall and shot. But they may turn into the most bitter enemies of Marxist-Leninists when they come to power. And that's what happened in Nicaragua. You remember most of these former Marxist-Leninists were either put to prison or one of them split, and now he's working against Sandinistas. It's the same pattern everywhere. The moment they serve their purpose, all the useful idiots are either be executed entirely, you see, the useful idiots, the leftists who are idealistically believing in the beauty of Soviet socialist or communist or whatever system.
Nothing better than Yuri Bezmenov in the morning. Welcome back to the MelK Show in the morning. And, had we listened to him then...
Yeah, he told us.
Traded in the 80s that they had already completed the demoralization. And we'll talk a little bit more about that today. But first and foremost, thank you for joining us in Mornings with MelK. It is Tuesday, March 17th. Oh, my God, it's going fast. I will be talking quite a bit today about the no strategy going on right now for the midterms. It's very important. We really have to look at the stakes coming up at the midterms, because if you look at the left, whatever it is now, it is somehow an amalgamation of the Democrat Socialist of America, which should be banned from our country from running for office because they are a global Marxist revolutionary world thing going on, and they're funded by the globalists, and they're here to destroy us. But the Democrat Socialists of America, which of course include the entire squad, led by AOC now as the leader, and I guess the leader of the Democratic Party, but they have aligned themselves, the Democrat Socialists, with the Islamic groups that, like CARE and Muslim Brotherhood, who are taking over towns and cities with the speed at which it is disturbing that most people aren't upset about this, or if they are, they're religion, church and state. No, it's not. It's not. It's ideological, political takeover of a totalitarian strand, and it's called the Red-Green Axis, and that is who takes over this country if we do not win the midterms and keep the House and Senate.
Don't forget the technocrat globalists. We can't forget them.
Globalists are winning the whole world right now because I believe that they are responsible essentially for the entire what they're calling a poly crisis. Wars all over the world in everyone's backyards. Every region is trying to figure out, what's next for them. It really is chaotic out there, and you know who wins from that, like Rob said. The Agenda 2030 crew that I believe we have to start really paying attention to in America. As you have seen, possibly, Palantir and the tech lords and all of these people, they are supranational, and they are getting more and more power, and they are having a lot of deals with the government under Donald Trump and pushing full steam ahead, in my opinion, to the panopticon that I've been warning about for years. It's not new. It's totalitarian technocracy using algorithms and technology to control the world. It goes back, frankly, decades and decades, but you can also look at Brzezinski, who wrote The Technocratic Age. It is all about efficiency and controlling the masses, the people, the problem, which to them is humanity itself. And through algorithms and Internet of Body, Internet of Things, full track and trace surveillance. And if the American people don't realize that the Patriot Act was a total, complete fraud on we the people, and I mean complete fraud. We were told after 9/11 that they passed the Patriot Act to make sure that the war didn't come here, to keep terrorists out of our country. We had to take off our shoes. We got TSA. We got DHS, we got all these. And guess what? Instead of that, they opened the doors to Islam and the Muslim Brotherhood and elevated care. Obama took that to the next level and turned the entire Patriot Act inside. And as we know right now, there are strongholds. We are warned all over the country. We see Epic City and more of those Islamic
Finished, no hormone, no nothing, beef. Okay.
Well, they teamed up with a rancher, a farmer in Oklahoma, and they figured out, they bought the big freeze drying things, and they figured out how to do it, and it's amazing. And I never thought that I would love this freeze dried beef, but and it stays on your shelf. There's nothing in it, no antibiotics, no anything. This is an old farm, a family farm. They've really taken care of it, and they not only process it and package it and ship it. It is all American made, American farmers, and it supports them. Also, they have incredible jerky, and very oddly enough, if you have cats and dogs, like we have a cat and a dog, as you know, you have to usually buy treats for separate, for each species separately. But their jerky for pets, our cat loves it and our dog loves it. And that is how good it is. And there's nothing in it. And
so
it's absolutely amazing. And they are great partners. So we hope that you will check it out. Try it. You can find it on our website, on our partners page. It's Grid Down Chow Down. These two brothers are amazing. It is a family company. It is totally just an amazing thing they did for themselves, their family, and their community during the lockdowns, and it has turned into a great business. So support them. Okay, I'm just going to do a taste test. Yes, we could get Skits, but Skits hides in the morning. So please check out Grid Down Chow Down. They're great guys. They deserve your business. They're fully American patriots, and they are working for us and our families and our future to keep us safe and make sure we have what we need no matter what happens. That's why it's called Grid Down Chow Down. Use the code MELK, and you will get a beautiful discount. Now moving on, speaking of manufacturing, Donald Trump is invoking the Defense Production Act, which directs oil companies to restart California operations. As you know, Gavin Newsom has decided that he is above the president and the country and the United States, and he has decided to still continue to work with the World Economic Forum. He has signed on for their climate agenda. He has signed on for the World Health Organization. He has decided that he is pushing for net zero. So everything that the globalists want, Gavin Newsom is all in, and that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that knows his history and how he got where he is. But in the meantime, we need oil. We got a lot off of that coast over there, and I want to say, as you know, or may not know, but you should know, the AutoPen administration and the people that ran it, they drained our entire strategic reserve of oil, and we're quickly putting it back, but that is a very big deal, especially for what's going on now. So Donald Trump has invoked the Defense Production Act to order an oil company to restart shuttered offshore operations in California, saying the more is necessary to address oil supply disruption risks and reduce reliance on foreign crude. Energy Secretary Chris Wright on Friday directed Sable Offshore Corp, an oil and gas company headquartered in Houston, to restore operations in Santa Ynez unit and the pipeline system off the coast of Santa Barbara. According to the statement from the Department of Energy, California once supplied, before it became a full commie Marxist operation over there, California once supplied nearly 40% of the United States oil production. But decades of these ridiculous policies that are based on totally fraudulent data have targeted reliable energy sources and have driven a decline in domestic output while fuel demand remains among the highest in the nation. Today, more than 60% of the oil refined in California comes from overseas, which is ludicrous and ridiculous. And it's all based on nonsense. And as we have the situation with the Strait of Hormuz, we don't know what's going to happen. But the idea that we are not drilling off of our own nation, especially when it's clean and they have all kinds of reliable energy sources that we can tap into. Gavin Newsom was standing in the way. Well, not anymore, at least not for now, until another rogue judge comes in and throws sand in the gears, and the voice and the vote of the people are once again stalled by judges that are not judges, that are actually activists. So we will see what happens, but that's good news. Another thing that really has to happen, though I'm a little annoyed because I'm still waiting. I thought they put together a weaponization task force, which, of course, I was a victim of that, at least getting kicked off of YouTube and demonetized and kicked off of PayPal and everything during the COVID. And I'd like to see some justice for that. But in the meantime, you're waiting for these referrals. Now they're not even going to go after things because they can't get Boasberg's court to indict any Democrats, which is absolutely ludicrous. Boasberg should have been impeached long ago. But in the meantime, Trump is establishing a task force to eliminate fraud. So he has designed a task force with an executive order, and he will be having J.D. Vance run that. So essentially, he says the vice president will serve as the chair of the task force. The chairman of the Federal Trade Commission will serve as vice chair. The assistant to the president for Homeland Security will serve as a senior advisor, and an executive director will manage daily operations. Relevant cabinet secretaries and heads of government agencies will serve as task force members. This is an all of government. We got from Susan Rice and the auto pen an all of government DEI critical race theory push. Well, this is an all of government fraud detection and elimination push, which of course coincides with their fraud because all of the trillions of dollars of grants that went towards, gaying out the country and climate nonsense and all of that disappeared into thin air. And these guys want to go find out where it went, particularly in the hands of Samantha Power, John Podesta, and John Kerry. The three of them were sending money all over the place, and we don't know where. And we also still have no justice for the auto pen, which is unbelievable to me. The group around him were so compromised, and nobody in America even knew their names until James Comer did the investigation. That report came out 4 months ago. I'm told that they can't get a D.C. grand jury to indict anyone that ran the country as a shadow government that the American people did not elect, and many of them had conflicts with Black Brennan Center, like law programs. They're all globalists that surrounded him. That's Anita Dunn. And remember, she was involved in the Transition Integrity Project. Her husband, the Donilon family, Mike and Tom Donilon, and the wife, I believe, of Mike. They also had Neera Tanden, who's now running John Podesta's Center for American Progress. They had Jill Biden's assistant using the auto pen, and many other people. It is a disgrace. There were 4,000 pardons. We don't even know who or why or how they chose those people. We know Joe Biden certainly didn't do it. And then, of course, they pardoned the entire fraudulent January 6th task force, and there are still thousands of people whose lives were destroyed during that giant fraud fedsurrection, and it's not going to be made whole if nobody deals with the auto pen and everything that happened there and the civil rights situation and the violations by that same court that is holding everything up. So we'll see what happens with the fraud task force. Now, as usual, Judicial Watch, if you feel like there's nothing you can do, or you feel helpless, or you want to get involved, you don't know what to do, and you kind of want to figure it out, and you're looking at, raising money for politicians now makes me so sick. And watching all the commercials, which we don't usually watch, but at least lately we've been forced to see a few. And it's just like, it's never ending. The money in our elections is such a disgrace. The fact that lobbying is legal is a travesty. It's legalized bribery that only works in D.C. And it, totally outweighs the vote and voice of the people and what we want. The lobbyists, I don't even understand how we allowed that criminal enterprise to continue. But at the same time, we have Citizens United and all these other things and all of this money going into all of these NGOs that we know nothing about and are undermining our country. I don't know why they can't seize some of these things or put sanctions or freeze some of these accounts of the money, particularly coming in from overseas. But as usual, Judicial Watch is doing the heavy lifting. And if you want to donate somewhere and feel like you're making a difference, I would say Judicial Watch has proven themselves to be an actual warrior for the people and unafraid to challenge the status quo and the elite law firms and all of the Norm Eisen types. So Judicial Watch has filed a lawsuit against the DOJ for all records linking Norm Eisen to the FBI Biden-era Arctic Frost probe. You should attach Norm Eisen to the Russiagate, to the first fake impeachment, the second fake impeachment, the third fake impeachment, to the Fedsurrection, to the January 6th committee, to every single lawsuit against Donald Trump, to the 65 Project lawfare against all of the lawyers that question the election or question anything else. Norm Eisen is the main node in lawfare, this disgusting use of critical legal theory and bending the Constitution and novel theories, which finds the crime and then goes after the person rather than having probable cause. It is a complete disgrace, and it is totally, all roads lead to Norm Eisen and his billion-dollar funders at all of his NGOs, including at the top, Democracy Alliance, Democracy Docket, and all of that. And again, this is asking for information, and it is involving the criminal division. That would be Merrick Garland, Lisa Monaco, and Chris Wray, who signed off on the very nefarious Arctic Frost. Find the crime, then figure out how to place it on somebody and destroy their lives. Jack Smith was a disgrace, still is a disgrace, and it's still out there. So Judicial Watch is saying, and I agree, America has a right to know whether the Justice Department officials and outside lawyers like Norm Eisen were involved in the efforts to investigate or influence political activity related to the 2020 election. I would say yes, and I would say also, please investigate everyone involved in the Transition Integrity Project led by Rosa Brooks over at Columbia Law School, where, of course, Mary McCord is a node there, too. And, of course, the Just Security, Brookings, and of John Podesta and the rest of the people that gamed out the 2020 election a year before we voted and found every single way Trump could win and made sure that they had something in place to stop him. And next thing you know, we were hit with the COVID and mail-in ballots, and that was the end of that. Also, don't forget, there are 51 intelligence agents that have still not been charged with conspiracy to defraud the people of the United States of America before a federal election and election interference with the fake 51 signed signatures of former intelligence people saying that the Hunter Biden laptop was fake or was fake news or had the hallmarks of Russian disinformation. There was no Russian disinformation. It was a real laptop, and everyone, including Bill Barr, I call him CIA Barr, everyone knowing Bill Barr knew it. And yet they shut down the New York Post for 2 weeks, making it look like they were right. They said that it was hacked and it wasn't real. And what it contained was, it wasn't just the gross stuff and the hookers and the crack. The worst part was that there was a lot of compromise deals in there with China, with Ukraine, with Russia, with Moscow, Romania, all over the world. And that's what they were hiding from the American people to put in the puppet that was no longer in the head right into office so that they could have the cabal around him use the auto pen for 4 years to destroy our country as fast as possible and to reignite World War III, which had been planned since the 90s. And Trump got in the way of that. They made sure he was tied up and couldn't have detente or anything with Russia, couldn't find out what was going on in Ukraine, couldn't find out what the CIA was doing implanted in Ukraine and elsewhere. And that had a lot to do with what Russiagate was about. And I want to remind you, as my audience, Russiagate, okay, was a global coup to overthrow the duly elected president of the United States of America in 2016. Norm Eisen, a big part of it, but everyone was involved. And this really was a disturbing situation because we are still sharing, I believe, intelligence with the Five Eyes nations when, frankly, it was a joint venture between the CIA and MI6 and the CIA head in London. That would be Gina Haspel, who, of course, CIA Pompeo then recommended for Trump to hire the woman from the CIA in London that was working with Dearlove and Halper and Christopher Steele and Kohler, and then with John Brennan in America with his whole group around Obama. They orchestrated a coup against Donald Trump. They didn't get him out, but they sure as heck tried, and they made sure he couldn't do the job that the American people had voted for him to do. That was a crime against we the people, and it has still not been dealt with. So God bless Judicial Watch for going in there. I have plenty of evidence. Brookings should have been investigated a very long time ago for all of the lawfare leading back to the beginning of the Russiagate operation, and yet Brookings is still out there and you know, having money pour in. I also want to remind you that Norm Eisen used all of his NGOs and all the money he had access to essentially write memos, like model prosecution memos, he called them, and then published them on Brookings' website. And he wrote them with some of them with Andrew Weissman, some with other regular lawfare people, and published them on Brookings, published them on Just Security and some other NGO sites for the far left lawfare crews. And frankly, those became the indictments. So a lot of people want to know who actually wrote Fannie Willis's indictment, Letitia James' indictment, Alvin Bragg's indictment, and Jack Smith's case. I would say all roads lead to Norm Eisen. And hopefully we will find something out about that. If you are not familiar with Norm Eisen, I will show you a real quick clip. And God willing, this man is held accountable because I think he's been causing a lot of problems for decades behind the scenes. He claims to be a hero for democracy and fighting autocracy, and laughably was the ethics czar under Barack Obama. But he also graduated from Harvard Law in '91 with Barack Obama, well after Harvard Law became infected with critical legal theory. That's essentially Marxism designed as legal theory that bends our Constitution to be a joke. In the meantime, take a listen to Norm Eisen, and remember this name: all roads, lawfare, lead to Norm Eisen.
The Emoluments Clause is not written to say that all emoluments are permitted except for Trump hotel profits. It's a terrible mix of things that exist that constitute emoluments in a complex national international business. Putting the hotels to the side, what about how are we going to decide what is and is not a profit? Are you going to question everybody who comes to the hotel, make them take a lie detector test, whether if they're a foreign government official, are they going to?
Okay, now if you see how ludicrous this guy is and what his argument is, I need you to know that that speech at Brookings was before Trump took office in 2016. Okay, he already had written, based on the Emoluments Clause, Norm Eisen had written impeachment articles for Donald Trump, which he's explaining in this video, before he took office in 2016. And the undermining and the abuse of the legal system and these international law firms and these other people that are funding all of his NGOs. He's connected to about 6 NGOs, Norm Eisen. That would be States United, where all these AGs are essentially handing Norm Eisen the ability to sue the Trump administration as a group. He's involved in the Voter Protection Project, which has nothing to do with voting protection. It has to do with allowing cheating and ending the Electoral College. He's also aligned with Mark Elias at the Democracy Docket. He's also aligned, as I said earlier, he's a fellow at Brookings that should have been looked into long ago in their complicity in Russiagate and every aspect of lawfare to date. And frankly, this man has wreaked so much havoc that most Americans don't trust the legal system at all. I also think that there should be an investigation into the Brennan Center for Justice and Just Security at NYU Law School. And, all these other law schools, they were infiltrated long ago. If you did not see my interview with Jeff Clark, I think it's very important that people understand what has happened to our law schools, because that's where the kids are coming from that are coming out and finding new legal theories and trying to tell the world that the Constitution is a living, breathing document that can be changed at any time, under any circumstance, if so-called activist judge and prosecutors and all that in the DOJ want to. And that's not the case.
You know what I'm going to do, Mel?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'm going to put that Jeff Clark interview in the chat because, it hasn't gotten a lot of views. Well, it came up on the weekend, so a lot of people are busy. But this is an amazing man, and it's really an important discussion, and it really lays out the infiltration in the legal system. So
People don't want people to see it. So if you have seen the Jeff Clark interview, please share it via email or anywhere else. It's really important. He's been really fighting the lawfare since 2016.
He's he's a regular guy.
He's a genius lawyer. He worked I believe in the Clinton and Obama administration. It was only, and they're trying to take his license, the DC Cesspool Bar Association, that is completely critical legal theory. I didn't know that because I don't look, or it would upset me, but I didn't know that the Jeff Clark interview didn't get a lot of views. So if you could go back there and share it everywhere, I'd appreciate it very much. We don't get any views when we put things essentially on X ever, and I'm not sure why. But we do on Rumble, and we'd really love people to go over there and check it out.
You know what, actually?
We're redoing, I just want people to know, we're redoing our infrastructure, and we are going to start really using Substack as an adjunct to the morning show. And I'm going to start, when I get somebody that knows how to do things and make it seamless, I'm going to start putting all the videos and all of the articles that I use in the morning show on that Substack. So it's the Mel K Show on Substack. It's called Americans Anonymous with Mel K, but I've updated it because people were confused. That's the name of my first book. So it's now the Mel K Show on Substack, and we're looking to really implement.
But that's the right picture, though.
Yeah, we're looking to implement a after the show over there at Substack, because we do need to make a profit here, and we aren't monetizing, very little monetization. So we're hoping that maybe we can get some people to join us and join our community and share and build something over there. A lot of people have had good success, and we're going to give it a go as we get some helpers.
If you haven't subscribed to Substack, please do. And if you love what we're doing, please become a paid subscriber, because we really do need your help. It is becoming more and more difficult.
It's very clear, and I want to thank you for always reminding me to say that, because I don't like that. I would say that there was.
She hates asking for anything.
Anyway, okay, but we do need it. Anyway, moving on. New documents. Not that we didn't know 6 years ago, and not that I don't know if Pam Bondi knows still, but I don't know what this is about. But frankly, now another person that's done the heavy lifting, I have to say, Miranda Devine. Not our DOJ and not the government, but again, Judicial Watch and some journalists like Miranda Devine have done an amazing job. And now we find out, as we knew, as I've told you, I want to state this as clear as possible. The Robert Mueller, Andrew Weissman special counsel investigation led by CIA Barr, I believe he's the one that allowed that to go on, was an investigation for 2 years that was strictly for lawfare, PR, and to continue to smear Donald Trump on the evening news with Madoff and everyone every night for 2 years. That entire investigation was a fraud, because they knew that he had no connections before the election. They set it all up. They created the lies. They knew Hillary Clinton was behind it. And instead of doing that, they changed it and made a fraudulent ICA and continued down the path of Russian collusion, Russia hacking the election, all of that. All of it lies. By the time the Mueller investigation began, they knew full well that there was no connection there. But for 2 years, they wanted to tell the media and then tell the populace that Trump had some kind of relationship with Putin or something else. It was all fake. So 2 years, $100 million of taxpayer money went into Weissman's special counsel investigation into Trump, investigation to nowhere. They knew this. And now we're finding out that FBI agent assigned to Robert Mueller's investigation into Donald Trump in 2016 campaign has made bombshell allegations charging misconduct. Really? Political bias, overzealous, premeditated thoughts by the team. We know, because the entire Weissman-Mueller team should have been fired. I hear some of them are still in there. They knew exactly what they were doing. They were keeping public opinion against Trump by lying every day. They were giving Adam Schiff and Rachel Maddow fodder every night, and they were investigating nothing. It was fake. They sent out 2,000 subpoenas. They were terrorizing anyone that was aligned with Trump, and it was all a fraud to keep the public, the populace, in this loop of Trump being somehow a Russian agent, and they should all be held accountable. But what we know now is that there was a let's get him attitude during the 2-year investigation into false claims that Trump and his advisors colluded with Russia to win the 2016 election. The now unidentified whistleblower that has recently come forward basically said that when the agent was interviewed as part of an integral FBI probe into alleged misconduct by then supervisory agent Brian Auten, who should have already been dealt with and is not, a central figure like front and center in both the Russia collusion hoax and the Ukraine hoax and the Hunter Biden laptop fraud. This guy Auten, he was out to get Trump, as were a couple of the other people. And Chuck Grassley has had it. You know, he's pretty old, Chuck Grassley, but he wants some answers. And he just sent a letter on Sunday to Pam Bondi and Kash Patel saying that detailing the most troubling aspects of the agent's account, saying it confirms long-standing concerns of political bias that rotted the decision-making process within the Mueller team. The American public deserves answers, particularly from Andrew Weissman and all the people that destroyed the evidence and drug people in and made thousands of people have to get legal counsel for no reason. They terrorized people. They wasted hundreds of millions of dollars. And frankly, there was no authority to open the special counsel. So what we're hearing now is essentially they went after Tom Barrack, a guy that was involved in the Trump inaugural committee. They found absolutely no wrongdoing after dragging this guy into court and suing him and going after him and everything else. And he was acquitted in 2022 because it wasn't about real crimes. It was about public opinion and making it look like everyone around Trump was colluding with Russia. It was all fake. We have all kinds of things, not to mention the entire FISA debacle, of which, of course, Judge Boasberg was the FISA judge and Mary McCord was his right hand. We had Klein-Smith lie. We had the whole situation with Sussman. I mean, it goes on, not to mention the protege of Barack Obama's attorney general, the prosecutor Zainad Ahmad, repeatedly violated security protocols. For example, she brought classified documents to a meeting with FBI's very corrupt Washington field office without adherence to FBI security policy by bringing classified notebooks and things to meetings. You know, it's on and on. Then we also have Andy McCabe, who's still has a podcast that he makes money and goes on MSNBC. He referred to Donald Trump in a derogatory manner, not to mention he basically said that they were going to go after Trump and get Trump by any means necessary. And we deserve to hear about this because, like I said, we the people pay for all of the lawfare. Every time Norm Eisen or Mark Elias or any of these people do something, it's we the people that pay for it, not to mention trying to bankrupt Roger Stone, George Papadopoulos, Michael Caputo, Bannon, and Peter Navarro. I mean, what they did is so evil. I can't even believe it. Lawfare is not just about filing frivolous lawsuits that stretch out forever just to smear somebody. It is also about bankrupting them, destroying their careers, their reputations, their families. Look at what they did to John Eastman, to Jeff Clark, to Sidney Powell, to Rudy Giuliani. It's all the same crew. All roads lead to Eisen and his inner circle, Weissman, McCord, Wittes, Brookings, Elias, all of them, and none of them have been held accountable. Again, they want to put out a very fraudulent bias report that Jack Smith wrote anyway after his case was ended, and they're activist judges. Many of them are part of the 235 judges that Chuck Schumer said they put in during the Autopen presidency to make sure if Trump or a MAGA person got back into office, they could get nothing done, and that they would file all these lawsuits with district court judges to stop the president of the United States. As you know, Boasberg stepped in again this week where he does not belong and decided to be president. Judge Boasberg at this point of that very corrupt D.C. court is the idea that they haven't even held an impeachment hearing is so disturbing because these judges are destroying anyone's belief in law and order. If this can happen to Trump, if this can happen to Rudy Giuliani, if this can happen to all the January 6 defendants who those judges lied on the stand saying 5 police officers were killed on January 6. Not true. They said a lot of other things on the stand. They all wanted to destroy these people's lives for a narrative of white supremacy and Christian nationalism rather than what was really the danger in the country. So I think we deserve some answers. And again, Chuck Grassley trying to get it, but now we have another judge overturned. And don't forget, every one of these things that they put in to try to stop Trump from being president on this term, that goes through the whole court process. It stops it, but most of them are overturned because they know what they're doing. This is called critical legal theory or novel use of a legal theory that turns things inside out. That is Norm Eisen's and Mark Elias's specialty. We also find out that Britain was very upset when they found out that China hacked voter files before the 2020 election in the United States. But apparently the Obama administration couldn't have cared less. It turns out that Great Britain revealed 2 years ago that its voter registration databases were hacked by China in what became a global scandal. But it turns out U.S. intelligence under Barack Obama harbored the same secret, knowing that since 2020, the Chinese Communist Party also gained access to American voter registration data, according to documents that have been released by Just the News. We've known this for a long time. In fact, I believe that Catherine Engelbert, right? And all that they proved that a long time ago, like 6 years ago, and they tried to put her in jail and that whole team in jail. And, you know, Dinesh D'Souza made the movie 2000 Mules about some of this stuff. But Chinese intelligence officials analyzed multiple U.S. state election voter registration data to conduct public opinion analysis before the 2020 U.S. general election. Stated a once highly classified 2020 National Intelligence Council memo entitled Cyber Operations Enabling Expansive Authoritarianism. That's their favorite word under the Obama administration. Don't forget they created CISA, which was run by Chris Krebs, who was also working on silencing and censoring anyone that questioned COVID or the election over there at the Aspen Institute. They declared under Biden that it was critical infrastructure. And it looks like they know that China hacked that critical infrastructure and nothing was done about it. The memo is called Declassified Cyber Operations Enabling Expansive Digital Authoritarianism. You know, that comes right from Norm Eisen and Brookings' ridiculous idea of what authoritarianism is. The memo is highly redacted, but it's 6 years later, and now we're finding out that the U.S. intelligence community under Barack Obama knew about it the whole time. That's because they knew about the 2020 election and what was going to happen there a year before, because it was fully planned by all of them at the Transition Integrity Project. In the meantime, we haven't seen Tulsi Gabbard or Ratcliffe in quite some time. We don't know what they're doing. We do know this morning that Joe Kent resigned. He does not believe in the war in Iran. That is his call. He fought and was a brave fighter, and he has his opinion and did what he did. But in the meantime, there's a lot of rumors out there, and I truly hope that Tulsi Gabbard is still doing the job and committed and all of that, because I believe what she is tasked with doing is the most important thing in the entire administration at this point. But we will hopefully hear from her soon. I've been trying to get information on what exactly and where they are in their multiple investigations, particularly of the 2020 election, of the treason and sedition of grand conspiracy, which there are two grand juries going on right now, apparently, in Florida, thank God, because that's where the egregious, I believe, breaking in, it wasn't even a legitimate warrant to search Mar-a-Lago, but it surely should be dealt with. But we will see what happens. In the meantime, Mike Lee is confirming that the SAVE Act debate will kick off today. We'll see. So apparently they're doing a talking filibuster, and that's because of you guys. I have to say that's because of you guys and me and people that have been pushing on X. It does appear that DC believes that X is the main news hub, because every time that we go on there and we push and we push and we share and we push, they do seem to get the message. You also have to call endlessly, Thune and all the rest of them, and just hammer it. Every day you should say, I'm going to get up and write one email, email, make one call to each of these people, and just keep it going, because pressure does matter. Of course, since they're all bought and paid for by lobbyists and foreign governments that want them to stay in office, they do not want to lose their seats. So pressure does work. And Mike Lee said that they will debate the SAVE Act today, kicking off showdown that will finally force every Republicans that have voted against everything, including the SAVE Act, and many Republicans who voted against DOGE cuts, and many Republicans who voted to continue to fund the CIA regime change operation known as the National Endowment for Democracy. But there are particularly the ones that really are the worst are the ones that are against the SAVE Act. So that would be Thune, McConnell, Collins, at this point, Curtis and Tillis, Murkowski, and the rest of the usual suspects. So make sure that if you are in West Virginia or Maine or any of these other places that they are pushing back, you have to get on the phone. You have to get on the phone. You have to write emails. You can go to the resource page at the Mel K Show and find their contact information just by clicking on something and putting in your zip code. I will give you a listen to what Thune is saying is going to happen today, and then we'll move forward from there. Here you go.
On the Save America Act, a package of common sense measures united around two themes: protecting our elections and protecting our youth. You're going to hear me use the adjective common sense a lot in this debate, Mr. President, because if there's any word that is suitable to describe the measures we're considering, it's that. Mr. President, if there's anything essential to the integrity of elections, it's ensuring that those who are registered to vote are eligible to vote, and that those who show up to vote at polling places are those who they say they are. And how do you do that? Well, by requiring that Americans show proof of citizenship when they register to vote, and that they show photo ID at polling places. That's what the Save America Act would do.
Okay,
It's
and
just
as
common
you
sense.
know, for whatever reason, they attached some transgender stuff to the Save America Act, which makes you think that the Uniparty's just messing with us. They're mocking us. But Rob just asked me, what did you say?
I said, why did he say, it's protecting the vote and protecting our children? Because I wasn't aware.
In some transgender stuff, that just makes it look like, I mean, DC is I don't think they want the status quo to change. Frankly, I think most of these people are waiting out Trump, hoping that we lose the midterms. So it's going to be up to us. I just really think that the entire McConnell wing of the Republican Party would rather everything be put on hold for 2 years of crazy impeachments and arrests and all of that after the midterms than fight for we the people of the United States, the SAVE Act, and the free and fair and only citizens voting. We will see today, I believe, whatever's going to come of that. In the meantime, I did want to mention that there is a trial going on about COVID. Unfortunately, that is not happening in America. And we just got information that this judge, Brian Murphy, this is the third time this radical, ridiculous judge has stepped in to do something a district court judge should never be able to do. Okay, but Boasberg is not more powerful than Donald Trump, but district judges aren't even on that level at all, and they continue. And I'm sure that this is one of the 235 picked to stop Trump back when Mary McCord admitted that they were already planning for Trump to win in April 2024 and making sure that they had all the lawfare and all the judges and all of that in place just in case he did. Well, this judge again, now he has, this judge struck down Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the health secretary's recommended fewer vaccinations for young children. Why in heaven's name would a judge be able to strike down what the health secretary is doing, which he was mandated to do, and American people want him to do? This judge has no business doing that, Brian Murphy. And this is the third time this judge has unilaterally struck down something that he has no business getting involved in. And again, this is almost beyond belief to me. And again, this is the judicial coup that continues unabated. And I wanted to say, I know, is that for ivermectin? Just give it a second, okay? The judge temporarily blocked RFK Jr.'s vaccine policy panel overhaul. This judge is from Boston, a total radical, leftist, progressive, and he, Judge Brian Murphy, district judge, said that the previous votes for the advisory committee on immunization practices are invalid and blocked the government's new vaccine schedule for children. Murphy ruled Kennedy and other federal officials committed a technical procedural failure by skirting around the ACIP in January to narrow vaccine recommendations for children. This guy would like your children to still get 80 vaccines after birth and have no say. I don't, what in God's name? I can't even imagine. Dr. Andrew Racine, president of American Academy of Pediatrics, one of the plaintiffs in the case. These are the people who have been saying that puberty blockers and sex changes for children under 17 are just fine. The American Academy of Pediatrics is a disgrace, frankly, and a tool of the big pharma. But he said, this decision effectively means that science-based process for developing immunization recommendations is not to be trifled with and represents a critical step to restoring scientific decision-making to federal vaccine policy that has kept kids healthy for years. That is not true. And plenty of things are coming out. These people should be embarrassed. And Andrew Nixon came out to speak for RFK Jr. and the Department of Health. And he said, we look forward to this judge's decision being overturned, just like every other attempt this judge made to stop Trump administration from governing, which is exactly what is going on. This Murphy guy, it's very hard to explain how this continues to happen. And again, Todd Blanche has come out. People going for to stop Donald Trump from being president, to stop the voice, the vote, and the desires of the voting people of this country in these courts without anyone being held accountable, without any of these judges getting smacked down. The Supreme Court already said district judges can't do this, and they're going to continue. And this lays squarely on their shoulders. But in the meantime, I do want to remind everyone that somebody did get on the stage and explain how he cleaned up his country, and I believe this is happening right now in Brazil with their rogue judges that threw Bolsonaro in jail, who is now on death's door, just like they wanted to do to Trump, the same exact thing, rogue judges, crazy progressive Marxist leftists. But take a listen to what Bukali said that he did to save his country, which is now one of the safest countries on the planet from when he took it over. And I agree with this, but this was at CPAC when the president of El Salvador said the one thing he had to do to clean up his country was this.
But jumping out of the water when it's already boiling is an almost impossible feat. You are not there yet. And believe me, you don't want to be. We did the unthinkable to cleanse our society. We arrested the terrorists, but we have to remove corrupt judges and corrupt attorneys and prosecutors.
Amen.
Imagine they can do it in El Salvador, but not in the United States of America. I mean, imagine that. And while we watch it over and over, and I just want to say, Rob and I want to make sure that you already have ivermectin, because this isn't over and there's a lot happening. And I just want to say,
well, everything that these people are doing is against not only the will of the people, but it's against the health of the people. And we were fortunate enough to meet a lot of the frontline doctors very, very early on in the COVID nonsense.
Times Square with RFK Jr., Dr. Northup, and a bunch of other great frontline doctors. Of course, we were also with Stella and Dr. Gold and McCullough, Malone, all these people that stood up, got silenced, and shut down. And now we have judges doing the exact same thing they did during COVID. This Brian Murphy is no better than any of the people that lied to us about the vaccine, about the efficacy of the vaccine, that it was safe and that it would stop the spread, and they knew it didn't. Everything that happened. And I want to remind you right now, TWC has ivermectin tablets. And what we're learning about ivermectin is mind-blowing, particularly about parasites and all this stuff, and even about cancer. So there's a lot out there, particularly about the rise of colorectal cancer among young adults. Since 2005, deaths have increased for people under 50. And according to some of the information that we've gotten right here, it confirms 70% of private oncologists' revenue comes from prescribing chemotherapy, which we all know is hell on earth and just awful for your body. Recent turbo cancers that have come after the injections and come back gangbusters have not been a coincidence. And frankly, the director of National Cancer Institute recently acknowledged significant scientific interest to warrant more rigorous preclinical studies of ivermectin's effect in cancer cells. So the wellness company, being a pioneer in medical freedom, and Dr. McCullough have looked into this, and their medical board has stayed on the pulse of the off-label cancer solution success stories and studies, removing red tape for you to easily access alternative medicines, which we should be allowed to do. The American people should have sovereignty in their health care, in their health choices, and science should not be corrupted by big pharma and Bill Gates and billionaires, which is what's happened. So TWC is introducing American-made ivermectin, safe, trusted, tested, and produced locally in Florida. Ivermectin has been prescribed globally for more than 30 years and even earned a Nobel Prize in medicine for its proven ability to eliminate parasites. The wellness company is offering an 18-milligram dose for just $3.50 per tablet. That's very good. You'll get a 6-month supply of 84 tablets, all at the unbeatable price that only they can offer. Get your U.S.-made ivermectin and own your health today. Use twc.health/MELK. That's code MELK to save $45 and free shipping. twc.health/MELK. Get ivermectin into your cabinets today before anything else happens. And never forget what we went through and what they did to ivermectin and what they did by lying to us, because this is not going away. And I really believe that we have to understand that COVID has not been dealt with yet. And as long as COVID has not been dealt with, then psychopaths and sociopaths that prefer pharmaceutical companies doing studies and pharmaceutical companies advertising on TV, that should have been ended already. And pharmaceutical companies and lobbyists paying our elected officials that don't care at all about us. So there are moves being made. And Assistant Secretary of Health yesterday, Admiral Brian Christine, came out and promised that they are doing things still to deal with COVID and what happened to this country and the world during COVID. And we'd like some accountability. But take a listen to what he had to say yesterday about COVID and now 5.
Whether consciously or not, orient their lives around some moral hierarchy and bend the knee to a governing authority. It will be either one rooted in truth and reason or one degraded by distortion and destruction. Under the previous administration, the latter prevailed. Truth was sidelined. Science was weaponized. As parents and most fundamentally as humans.
Still don't see any indictments or anyone being held accountable for what we went through. Just a reminder so that you don't forget or are deceived. And this comes strongly after this Brian Murphy, a district judge in Boston, has decided that he's blocking the new, based on science, based on being more common sense oriented when it comes to vaccinating our children. Some district judge blocks this in America. Take a listen to Rand Paul still trying to fight, and we still see no indictments or anyone being held accountable for COVID. Take a listen.
Planning, whether it be of the economy or of science, is risky because of the fallibility of the planner. It would not be so catastrophic if the planner were simply one physician in Peoria. Then the mistakes would only affect that physician's patients, the people who chose that physician. But when the planner is a government official like yourself, who rules by mandate, the errors are compounded and become much more harmful. A planner who believes he is the science leads to an arrogance that justifies, in his mind, using government resources to smear, and to destroy the reputations of other scientists who disagree with him. Good intentions don't excuse bad behavior. It goes back to the supposition, are people too stupid to make their own mind up? In an email exchange with Dr. Collins, you conspire, and I quote here directly from the email, to create a quick and devastating published takedown of 3 prominent epidemiologists from Harvard, Oxford, and Stanford. Apparently there's a lot of fringe epidemiologists at Harvard, Oxford, and Stanford. And you quote in the email that they, or from Dr. Collins, and you agree that they are fringe. And immediately there's this takedown effort. A published takedown, though, doesn't exactly conjure up the image of a dispassionate scientist. Instead of engaging them on the merits, you and Dr. Collins sought to smear them as fringe and take them down. And not in journals, in lay press. This is not only antithetical to the scientific method, it's the epitome of cheap politics, and it's reprehensible.
No.
This wasn't the only time. Your desire to take down those who disagree with you didn't stop with Harvard, Oxford, and Stanford. You conspired with Peter Daszak, who you communicated with privately, and other members of the scientific community that wrote opinion pieces for Nature. 5 of them signed a paper for Nature, an opinion piece. 17 signed a paper that called it conspiracy theory. The idea that the virus could have originated in the lab. Do you think words like conspiracy theory should be in a scientific paper?
Senator, I never used that word when I was referring to it. You're distorting virtually everything.
Okay, we know that they're not. We still haven't had a hearing or anyone held accountable for what happened to this nation. I also want to remind you that I've talked many times here about the giving pledge of all these billionaires that got together with Bill Gates. This goes back to the Good Club meeting at the Rockefeller Institute with Bill Gates and Melinda Gates and Warren Buffett and all of the usual suspects, including, I believe Ted Turner was there, but definitely we know that Bloomberg was there, Oprah was there. All of these billionaires got together in 2009. You can look it up. It's the Good Club meeting in New York. And they decided that they needed to put together all their money in 2009, in order to fight population growth, overpopulation, pandemics, and climate change. That was 256 billionaires signed on to what was called the Giving Pledge across 30 countries with a combined wealth of $600 billion. As Sayed G says, that is not charity. That is a private government funded by billionaires that is functioning above our government that worked with Dr. Fauci. He was, of course, involved in this. He's been involved in it the whole time. And frankly, now today, it looks like billionaires are leaving Bill Gates' scandal-scarred Giving Pledge as critics branded Epstein adjacent. Many of us believe Epstein was very involved in the planning of the pandemic, certainly in the financial benefits of the pandemic. And we're hearing that today. But I want to remind you, these $600 billion of these 253 people that were involved with Bill Gates in the planning of fighting pandemics and the money model that they worked out with JP Morgan, none of them have been held accountable either, and they were very much involved. I also want to remind you, the remdesivir that killed many, many people in the hospitals, they knew it was going to kill people. Dr. Ardis and many other doctors were warning very early on, but I do remember, and if you don't remember, or if a family member was put on remdesivir and a ventilator and died, there was a very good, they knew that that could happen and that might happen, because in the Ebola trials under Barack Obama, when they kicked off all the reasoning behind creating bioweapons under Obama all over the world, African Ebola trials, the remdesivir was declared too deadly and unethical to use during the Ebola trials of Barack Obama with a 53% kill rate. I just want to remind you, because we still have not seen justice, and though there is a foreign court case right now in court looking into Bill Gates and all of this, I think we should remind people that if you did have a family member die in the hospital because they were put on remdesivir, the game's not over, and we still need to see a lot of people held accountable. But
I'd like to remind people also that Reiner Fulmick is still in jail for just standing up and pulling together evidence.
My God. It's so sad. And remember, the Biden auto pen administration, Ron Klain led the also Lisa Monaco under Obama entire debacle.
One of my favorite targets. Remdesivir was too unethical to put into Ebola clinical trials in Africa because it had a 53% kill rate published in medical journals. Ebola doesn't have a 53% kill rate, but it was chosen in April and May of 2020 to be the drug of choice to treat COVID. This drug was too unethical to use in an African clinical trial because it was killing 53% of the people that it was given to. And we had Anthony Fauci, Deborah Birx sitting next to the president going, we need to use remdesivir, despite the fact that the World Health Organization said it was unethical to use it. Here's the problem. The problem is, as long as the financial interest that dictates what product is going to be promoted is the one making the declaration of the pandemic, we have no possibility for accountability. We have no possibility for justice. And what we do is we allow people who were formed out of the eugenics office, Carnegie Mellon in 1913, that same group of people that were the same group of people that established the World Health Organization in 1953, that same group of people are the ones who are making this decision. And I don't know how you feel about eugenics, but I have a problem with it.
And we all should. And I don't want to forget to remind you about this. And it will never go away. And I don't know how people think we can go forward without dealing with the criminality and that Ebola story and remdesivir alone should have had, I believe, criminal charges with it. And I hope that a lot of people out there, that there are brave lawyers that are willing to take. I think there should be a giant class action for every single person that died in the hospital from remdesivir. And all of those people should be held accountable all the way up to Fauci. But take a listen and remember these people that also should be held accountable.
Are the unvaccinated. You are the problem. It is the unvaccinated who are the problem, period, end of story.
The only people that you can blame, this isn't shaming, this is the truth. Maybe they should be shamed, are the unvaccinated.
It's time to start blaming the unvaccinated folks, not the regular folks.
Anyone you came into contact with will blame you, as will the rest of us who have done the right thing by getting vaccinated.
Because frankly, we know that we can't trust the unvaccinated.
I think it's time to get our moral house in order, Anderson. It's the unvaccinated who are the threat.
All of us vaccinated folks are going to start wearing masks to protect the unvaccinated folks. It's called a Christian value.
You're basically punishing the vaccinated for the sins of the unvaccinated.
People are not behaving honorably. The unvaccinated are basically saying, well, it's open season for me. I can do whatever I want as well.
The unvaccinated are basically beating their breasts and running around the country saying, we don't care, we're living free and so forth.
We've been patient, but our patience is wearing thin.
Unvaccinated, a group that includes children and people acting like children. And the rest of us are starting to get pissed off.
The vaccinated feel the unvaccinated are making me upset or angry.
This is not about freedom or personal choice.
Well, my freedom is being kind of disturbed here. No, screw your freedom.
The other day, Howard Stern weighed in with a much different approach. Take a look.
When are we going to stop putting up with the idiots in this country and just say, it's mandatory to get vaccinated? Their freedom.
But you're treading on our freedom and you're making other people sick, and really you're killing other people.
The anti-vaxxers, they seem to have a thing for death and home remedies.
The anti-maskers turned anti-vaxxers are not just putting their own lives at risk. If that was the issue, we could just say that we can watch them compete to win place or show in the Darwin Awards.
We have to start doing things for the greater good of society.
Okay,
it goes on and on and on.
10 minutes of that stuff. So we have to remember that this is going on and that nobody's been held accountable, not the media, not Dr. Fauci or Deborah Birx, not anyone that pushed remdesivir when clearly Ron Klain and Monaco and Samantha Susan Rice, when they were the czars under Ebola and Obama, knew that it was deadly, and a lot of people died in the hospital. When Dr. Ardis first came out in the beginning, because his father-in-law died from that, and he said this is deadly, and then they were calling for ventilators, and that was for the remdesivir. We also have Grace, poor Grace, that also died in the hospital.
Yeah.
It's just nobody's been held accountable, and I can't believe it still. In the meantime, we do have to talk about what is coming up, which
can I just throw one thing out there? In addition to the wellness company who's been a supporter of the show, we also have Dr. Stella MD, who's been a great supporter of the show, was one of the first frontline doctors to get out and just scream from the rooftops. She's developed an amazing set of solutions as well.
She's the best.
And they're also a partner of ours, and we encourage everyone to make sure wherever you get it that you do have the supplies in your cabinet because when you start not feeling well,
sometimes it's too late.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to your personal sovereignty, and it gives you that, peace of mind, and it makes you stronger to know that you have solutions. Just like we were talking about Grid Down, Chow Down.
Yeah.
Have solutions at home and at your disposal.
Chow Down can be on your shelf for 15 years. And it's really, this is what we talk about when we say, anything could happen right now. The world's kind of in chaos. You need to be your own hero. You need to get all this stuff. Stella's got an entire... And remember, I got kicked off for life. It was so crazy what came out. And then a whole bunch of our government blocked it. And then they voted to continue funding National Endowment for Democracy and all of this. Well, it looks like Jay Sekulow, still working for our country, another one. He used to be over there at Judicial Watch. Now he's at ACLJ. They filed an amicus brief supporting President Trump, and the court ruled for them. So it looks like Trump is going to be able to finally, a year and a half in, after we all found out, to... root out the waste. Now, I don't know if you guys have watched the young boys. Now, imagine, he's not a boy, he's a man, but he's, I think, 24, 25. The kids that were picked to come in from Doge are the smartest, brightest students. Now, I mean, they're not kids anymore. They're in their 20s, but that Elon Musk could find. Can you imagine if you hear stories about, his company, SpaceX or Tesla or whatever, he really, really goes to find the best and the brightest. And one of them was amazing. And you remember the Doge group that they got beat up on the street and all kinds of crazy things happen. And, they're yelling and screaming. And these are kids in their 20, 24, 25 that are brilliant, that are known to be brilliant mathematicians, and we're rooting out waste. Well, I don't know if you know that they have been deposing the Doge team to try to catch them having done something illegal, which the thing that's being done illegal is what the Doge team was finding. But I'm very proud of this guy. His name is, what was his name? Nathan Kavanaugh.
Is that right? Let's see. Credit to Nathan Kavanaugh.
Nathan Kavanaugh. This is a kid that we should be proud of and supporting, and God bless him. And he's still there, and he was moved to find, I believe, fraud over at HHS. But watch what happens to him. This was a leaked deposition of them trying to find crimes to charge the Doge team with. Take a listen.
I argue that by fighting HIV/AIDS in prisons, activists came to confront incarceration itself, bringing feminist and queer insights into prison abolition. My book will be of interest to scholars of history, gender, and LGBTQ studies, and the medical humanities, and to general readers interested in incarceration, abolition, and the impacts of HIV/AIDS and other pandemics. Did I read that correctly?
Yes.
This is one of the grants that you or Mr. Fox identified as craziest of NEH, is that right?
That's right.
Do you recall whether you identified it as craziest or whether Mr. Fox did?
I don't recall.
Why did you identify this as one of the craziest grants?
Because it references feminist and queer insights into prison abolition and LGBTQ studies.
Any other reasons?
No.
I argue that by fighting HIV/AIDS in prison...
Yeah, and that wasn't all. Take a little look at this. Here we go.
You don't regret that people might have lost important income to support their lives?
No. I think it was more important to reduce the federal deficit from $2 trillion to close to zero.
Did you reduce the federal deficit?
No, we didn't.
This is a history of the HIV/AIDS prison movement and its legacies in the United States. My book project narrates how activists fought the convergence of HIV/AIDS and incarceration from inside and outside prison.
Yeah, that's the same. So this went on for hours, and this kid held his own, and he's using what? Common sense. No, his task was to weed out all waste and fraud that included DEI that was getting hundreds of millions of dollars in grant money going to silly things like feminist theory and in abolition of incarceration and all of this. That was his job, was to find frivolous grants that could be eliminated. And of course, there's trillions of dollars of frivolous grants. Now, we have to remember something that's really important. So if we don't get together and forget about I don't see any strategy for the GOP, the RNC. I see all the big million-plus subscriber influencers talking about and fighting with each other. I see no ground game going in 8 months out. I see, as we know yesterday, Susie Wiles apparently is diagnosed with breast cancer, and she is going to be a remote chief of staff going into the midterms. I see a lot of division. We got also Marjorie Taylor Greene and other people out there that are now total anti-Trump. And we're going into the midterms. And I just want to stress for the rest of the show that the other side is ready. They already, I'm sure it's Norm Eisen, they already have impeachment documents written up after they believe they will win the House and Senate in the midterms. So we will have the Democrat Socialists of America and their partners in CARE essentially running the House and Senate going in. And that would be, in my opinion, the worst thing that could happen to this country. It's got nothing to do with Donald Trump or his administration or what they've done so far. It has to do with handing our country over to radical Marxist psychos that really hate America, that hate white people, that hate MAGA, so they hate 80 million of us, hate Trump, and they seem completely and totally brainwashed and like they didn't. And the more of them that went to college, the scarier. So I love this girl. What's her name?
Caitlin Bennett.
Caitlin. We love Caitlin. So Caitlin does the heavy lifting, which is very dangerous at this point, and goes. So she went on to a camp.
Who would you feel more safe with?
The one shouting a lot.
Tomorrow, because I got to go today. But I need you to know the midterms matter, and it is only you that can save this country because at this point, nobody's been put in jail to stop what has been going on here. And frankly, they are ready to hit the ground running, and I don't see any game plan here. Take a look at how many indivisible chapters opened around this country and how many, I don't know. I don't know what we're going to do, but if you have suggestions or you have ideas or whatever, please let me know. We're 8 months out, and if the midterms go their way, 2 years will be wasted. The next 2 years will be in lawfare, and we'll wait till 2028, but they will do a lot of damage in the 2 years that they have power, and they fully expect the DSA and the radical Islam red-green axis to take control in the midterms. It's up to us, friends. So thank you so much. I'll get into that more tomorrow, but thanks for staying with us, and we'll see you tomorrow.
See you tomorrow, guys.
Make sure you tune in to Mel K in the mornings at 12 Eastern every single day. We are doing a daily news show that'll keep you up to date with the things you're not getting anywhere else. The Mel K in the morning show is your place to get morning news daily.
Whispers of freedom loud in the night. Anonymous fighters ready to ignite. They hack the code, crack the chains. Endless courage runs through their veins. Dancing in the digital light they go. For justice and truth their actions flow. Riding on the waves of bytes and bits. Anonymous Americans never quit. With every click they defy the lies. Fighting for freedom under moonlit skies. Mask on screens but hearts are clear.